to the Little Blue Pot. It's Jem here. Thank you for joining me, YouTube. I hope you are well. And welcome to the Crisis Team. In this video, I'm going to be introducing the Crisis Team. I'm going to be saying what they do, who they are, and how you can get help, and the help that they give you. This is purely for the UK, and I'm sure UK and Ireland, but I'm afraid I don't have information about any of sort of from the States or Australia or any other countries. So if you have got information about your own countries or areas crisis team that might help others, please put it in the space below. I will be doing further videos later down the line on other areas and how to help, etc. But at the moment I'm just working from the UK, so apologies if this doesn't apply. But hopefully some of the stuff that's in this video you can take with you, and hopefully it will work in your area where you live. Information today is taken from Rethink Mental Illness, which is rethink.org, and everything is in the description below. So overview. Crisis teams. The Crisis Team. Crisis teams can give urgent help to people with mental health problems. Crisis teams can support you if you are having a mental health crisis in the community. This could be in your home. Staff from the Crisis Team will help you to get better. They will try to make sure you don't have to go into hospital. You need a professional such as your GP to give your details to the Crisis Team before they can help you. This is called a referral. And the Crisis Team is a general term. The team near you might be called something different, and there should be a team available in your area 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But what is a crisis team? What are the crisis team? Crisis teams are part of mental health services. They can support you if you are having a mental health crisis in the community, and in the community meaning you're not in hospital. So if you're very poorly mentally, you're having a bit of a poor time, you may be able to go to your GP and then they can refer you to the crisis team. Or it might be that you're really, really poorly and that actually maybe you do need to go into hospital. The crisis team are kind of the alternative to hospital, trying to keep you out of hospital. And there's nothing wrong with going into hospital. It doesn't make you a bad person, a failure or anything like that. It just can be a bit unnerving, a bit unsettling, especially if you've not gone in there before. So the crisis team are trying to sort of keep you out of hospital, but if you really need it, then you will go to hospital. Having a mental health crisis can mean different things. It can include thinking about suicide or acting on suicidal ideations, going through a psychosis where you're not really in touch with what's going on, or you could be doing something that's putting you in danger or someone you care about. Maybe you get into sort of recurrent physical fights and you're kind of going into one of those, and you could be hurting yourself or others. If you're not having a crisis, you can still get support from the mental health team, such as your community mental health team or CMHT. So if you're already in the care of them, maybe ring them up, get an appointment, have a chat with them, say, look, you're really not doing so well, I might need to get a referral to the crisis team. And if that's the case, it's not a bad thing. Getting help from the crisis team means you're reaching out, you are getting help. This is good. This is positive. If you are not reaching out to the crisis team, it might be that you're struggling with something on your own, and actually you don't need to be struggling with that. If you're really suffering, go and get the help you really need and really deserve. What other names can be given to the crisis team? So this might resonate with you guys. So home treatment team, crisis resolution team, crisis and assessment team, rapid response services, or psychiatric emergency services. So maybe your crisis team is referred to as one of those. You can check what sort of crisis team your area has by looking on your NHS website. So if you find your local area and find out what is on there for your crisis team, you can call NHS 111 or you can talk to your GP. But how does the crisis team help? Well, they can help in different ways. They can carry out an assessment to find out if they can help you. So they'll be, they'll ask you how you're doing, how you're feeling, what's been going on. They may even ask you about your whole mental health history. So be prepared to kind of maybe share a lot of stuff, and you can have someone there with you. You don't have to be on your own. You can have your carer, a relative, a friend, whomever that you feel that you can be comfortable and that you can share this information. Because you might be talking about sensitive things like self-harm, suicidal thoughts, etc., hearing voices, whatever, and you might not want someone you care about to hear those things, but if you have them there, then they can answer questions that maybe you struggle to. If you are feeling particularly poorly, I know when I've had it, I've had one of either Andy or my mum with me, because they can answer questions that maybe I'm kind of might be like, I don't really understand. The team may offer medication. They'll arrange regular visits. Make sure you're in touch with other services to get long-term support. So they may also kind of say, right, maybe do you want to try doing this little course, this I don't know, anger management course if you're really battling with your anger, or maybe they'll put you on some sort of meditation or something like that. They won't just leave you hanging. They'll find something. They'll kind of signpost you to other services in the area, in your local area, that may help you. Or it might be, as I did, which was be an outpatient at the local hospital. So you can go in there every day and do a class or a course or something like that. I recommend whatever they offer you, take it, use it, get as much out of them as you possibly can, because they are really, really helpful when they're there. But you don't want to have to keep going to them to get that help, because you know, what am I trying to say? Yeah, you don't want to continuously want to keep going to the crisis team, because you know it can be quite a distressing time. So there is support out there. There is other support out there that you can get to. I think that makes sense. So the team are trying to make sure you don't need to go in hospital. I've said that bit already, but you might still have to go if you are unwell. So they may give you an assessment, the crisis team, and say, actually, you're probably a little bit more poorly than we thought, so maybe going into hospital for a couple of days is probably what we would advise. And if they are advising that, then I would say go. It doesn't make you a failure, it doesn't make you, you know, any wrong or worse, or it doesn't mean anything like that. It can be unnerving, it can be unsettling, but once you're in there, you can be really, really safe, and they do take really good care of you. The crisis team can also support you once you've been discharged from hospital. So perhaps you've gone in for a couple of days and now you've come out. They want to keep you out of hospital, because again, they want to make you better. They don't want you to keep getting poorly and keep having to go into hospital. So there should be a crisis team in your area which is available 24/7. Most crisis teams try to see you either the same day or next day, and it will depend on the situation and how busy they are. Now, unfortunately, in the UK, our mental health system is stretched. It is at its limit. There are more people requiring services than there are services available, and the Tories keep saying they're putting money into these services, but they are not. Something like, well, 1 in 4 people suffer from mental illness, but something like 5 to 10% of the budget of the NHS goes towards mental health. So a quarter of the people are getting it, but it's only, what, a tenth of the money going towards it. So to me, that doesn't make sense. Put any comments in the space below if you agree. Who make up the crisis team? So I'm just checking the time. Psychiatrists, so they'll be great, because they'll be great. Mental health doctor, they can give you a diagnosis as well as prescribe medications and manage your treatment. Really important, if you see a psychiatrist, to make sure you share everything. Don't forget anything. If you think you're likely to forget something when you see the psychiatrist, maybe write down a few things beforehand that you think may be key points, or maybe sit down with your partner or carer and say, how can we best describe how I'm feeling? The more you work with your carer, your relative, your friend, the more you become a little team yourself, and then you can take care of that person and when they're in crisis. So really, really good to support each other. So the psychiatrist makes up the crisis team. Also a community psychiatric nurse, or CPNs. They are qualified mental health nurses, and they'll check your care plan. They'll set you up with a care plan. A care plan is something to put into place to prevent you from going downhill again, prevent you from going into crisis. So you might have like a red, amber, green system, which I'll be talking about in relapse prevention next year. Social workers will also make up the team, and other people. You could have psychologists, support workers, health workers, occupational therapists. So it's a real mixture, but what I would say is more than likely they will see you every day. They will probably come over for about an hour, and it might be one of them, it might be 2 of them, it might be 3 of them, it might be a CPN and a social worker, it might be a social worker and a occupational therapist. I'm not sure, but it depends on what system they've got in place, who's working, and etc. So it will be a mixture, but they are all there, and they're all there to care for you. They will have a meeting about you every morning when they meet with their teams, and they will assess how everybody is doing that's in the care of their crisis team. They are seriously fantastic people, and they have been so helpful to me and other people I know. So finally, how do you get help from the crisis team? Well, most crisis teams will only help if a professional gives them your details. So if you need to have a referral. But luckily, your GP can do this, or your GP out of hours service. If you are really, really poorly, I would say skip the GP, maybe go straight to A&E, depending on what your GP service is like. If you are able to contact your GP for an emergency appointment, that's probably better than going to A&E. But if you are really, really poorly, having a psychosis, self-harming, feeling suicidal, feeling unsafe, then go straight to A&E. Because at the A&E you will meet with the psych team, which should consist of a psychiatric nurse and a psychiatrist. So that's another way. So you've got GP, your community mental health team, A&E, but you've also got the police. Now, unfortunately, if you are coming from a referral from the police, it's likely that you've probably been sectioned, because that is the power that the police have to section you under the Mental Health Act if you are a danger to yourself or others, or if you are, really, really poorly and just need to maybe go into hospital for a while to just rest, recoup, recover. So you could be sectioned and therefore go into hospital, or you might just be able to get that referral, go through the crisis team, get that help, get the care coordinator, hopefully even get a diagnosis if you haven't, and get that support. You may be able to contact the crisis team and ask for help without a referral, but I would say go online, call 111, call or contact your GP surgery. They're the best ways, and we want to get you the help. We want to get you the crisis team support to stop you from having to go into hospital. But if you do go into hospital, it really isn't the end of the world. It's not the most fun experience of your life, but you will be safe, you will be taken care of, and it will put hopefully your mind at rest and people who care about you. If you have any experience with the crisis team, please tell me about it. Have you been with them more than once? Have you only been with them once? Did you get a diagnosis? Was it a good experience? Was it a bad experience? Do you think that the mental health services in the UK are stretched to the limit and people are suffering because of it? Whatever your story, please put it in the comments below. Really good to hear from you guys. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.